Okay. Thank you guys so much for jumping on our call. This is our first call of 2022. And I'm so excited. I'm excited for a fresh year, fresh starts, fresh goals, all the things. I have been a little disconnected. I think we all can probably be real and saying we've all been just a little disconnected because of the time of year, because we're coming off of the best months of the year. We worked really hard and hit some really big goals in November, and then we hit December with all the holiday stuff and just kind of still some consistency, but not as good of a month because you've drained your clients. And you're kind of coming off of that month. And then here we are in January, kind of just like, I don't know, wheels spinning, excited, but sometimes feeling like we don't really know which direction to go in, right? Because you have all these goals and you're like, I need to work and I need to get out of the funk that I've been in, or I need to like get moving, and I'm just not doing the things. So I've been wanting to do a call like this for a while, just because I know that so many people struggle with the mental block and the reality of the fact that you feel like, okay, how do I branch out? How do I expand? How do I meet more people? Like how is my business going to continue to grow? So there is a big mental block around growth. I feel like around growth in general, growth meaning, your team, growth meaning expanding, your network, growth meaning expanding clients, clientele, hosting parties, social media, right? All these things. Growth is such a broad term for all the things that we're doing basically each and every day to get better in our business, in our personal life. Okay. So there's this idea that it's hard to grow. It's hard to grow. We have this idea. These are like the reasons we have blocks. Like it's just hard. The thought of what if I exhaust my market, the thought of trying to expand, trying to grow in ways that you need to grow. It's hard. The idea of it is hard. It's overwhelming in our brain. And it really almost feels like it requires more work, because it does. It requires effort. And then it's like the idea of like, how long is that going to take? How long is it going to take to grow? Okay, so I want to achieve this and this and this, but it just seems so big and so far away, and it seems scary. And you probably are going to maybe want to take some notes on this call. I'm hoping that this will be like noteworthy and it will be really helpful for you guys. So I want you guys to break it down. Instead of thinking about growth as such a big thing that like might seem hard, might seem like it's a lot of work, might seem like it's a pain, and it's just like, it makes your mind, if you're like me and you get overwhelmed easy and you feel like there's all these things you need to do, but you just sort of freeze because it just feels like too much. And it causes anxiety. You have to break it down into bite-sized pieces. So I want you to think about like a 5,000 piece puzzle. So if you were to sit down and do a 5,000 piece puzzle, you know how long that takes, right? A really long time. And I want you to think about it in ways that you can grow. I want you to think about the puzzle as in each piece that you get to fit is a way for you to grow. Okay. So each piece is these dogs. Each conversation could represent a piece of the puzzle. Okay. Each host that says yes. Okay. But a lot of puzzle pieces, you put them in, right, and they don't fit. So then you take it out and you're like, dang it. Okay. You put in another piece and you put in another piece. And how many pieces sometimes does it take before they actually fit in? Sometimes a lot, but each piece that actually gets to fit is like representing like a new contact, like a new host, each new way to share so that you can grow, each new way that you're being creative to educate your prospects. Okay. Each post, each breadcrumb. Okay. So think of how long that could possibly take, right? It's small things, but you're making improvements each day, even when you don't feel like it. So I really want this expansion that we're getting ready to talk about. I want you guys to really be patient with yourself. Like, be patient with how far you're coming. Okay. So you have to be patient. This doesn't happen overnight. This takes time. Like, I watched a little bitty thing from Lisa Davis today. She sent me this short clip video that she created. It's 1 minute and 40 seconds. And I can send it to you guys if you want it, but it's on prospecting. And it's just a short video of her explaining like, hey, you've been sent this video because you're interested in the advocate opportunity and blah, blah, blah. And like, it's super short and sweet and to the point. But in the video, she says, I've been an advocate for 5.5 years. Like a lot of us are just hitting our year mark, right? And a lot of us haven't even been in a few months or whatever. And so think of where you're going to be in 5.5 years. Think of all the puzzle pieces that Lisa Davis has. And I just use her as an example because she's inspiring, and we all need to aspire for and look to somebody that's done it. That's what it is. It's like, if this has been done, it can be done. And we know it's been done. You watch people all the time create these big businesses, these high producing, income producing businesses. And really, honestly, the only thing that they're doing that you might not be doing is showing up every single day, whether they want to or they don't. Showing up consistent every single day, like it's their job, because it is. And if you want it to replace a job or you want it to create a full-time income, you've really got to get serious about that. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So I want you to go back. And you don't have to write this down now, but I want you to write down the first thing we're going to talk about is I want you to go back to this time last year. Have you grown? Have you grown? The answer is yes. I don't care if you weren't in this business, but like you've definitely grown since you started this business, or even since last year at this time, right? In some way, whether it's personal growth, business wise, there's so much growth to be had. It's not just about the business. It's like, you better be really, what's the word? Sort of selfish with your own personal growth, personal development, wanting more, wanting to create structure and routine for yourself. And that's going to flow into your business. And so I want you to go back and I want you to think about the growth that you've had. Why wouldn't you grow this year? Why wouldn't you grow this year? If you grew last year, why wouldn't you grow this year? You're going to, like, you're absolutely going to if you want to. And we all do, because if we're not moving, we're staying the same, right? And so I think it's so important for us to think about how we're going to grow and how are you going to be really intentional about your routine and your structure. And for me, I've lost some structure in my day. I've allowed to, I think part of it for me personally, sharing really quick, I used to be so hard on myself that I would like show up hell or high water. Like, you better believe it. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I think that's a really good quality. And I still like to keep that quality, but I find that it created a bunch of anxiety because I was so hard on myself that I didn't give myself room for grace. I didn't give myself room for, like, I wasn't patient with myself. I didn't allow myself to rest if I needed to. And so now I'm trying to give myself more grace, but I found that it's healthy and it's good, but I've also found that I'm not having the structure that I need. So I know what I need to do in order to create a better business, to be more plugged in, to help my team more, to help my own personal goals more. I've got to be more routine, structure oriented. And so that's something you have to ask yourself is how much do I want to grow this year? How much do I want to grow this year? And I know that you guys have big goals or you wouldn't be on this call. And I know that you have these things that you'd like to create for your family and these visions. And so I want you, that's something I can't tell you. You have to know how intentional your structures, how you're going to be with your time, how intentional, how you're going to create structure and what it's going to look like. And of course, one-on-one, I would be happy to help you guys with like actual your own structure, but we all have different lives and different things that come up, and we got to be flexible, right? It's not that you should be so strict with your routine that like if something happens, it just throws you off and you spiral and go into this like whatever anxiety ridden, anger, whatever. It's literally be flexible, but we need to be intentional at the same time. And there's really blocks around structure. I think there's a lot of mental blocks. But really, honestly, it's simple. Plug in, be consistent, and continue failing forward, right? And that's when you're going to get stuff done. And stop trying to perfect it, because if you're going to try to perfect it, every single thing you do, you're literally going to not do it, and you're going to overthink it, and then you're not going to do it, and then it's like, well, what are we doing, right? So done is better than perfect. And that's gonna, even if it's just done, that's gonna help us move forward. So the other thing I want to talk about really quickly, and then we'll really dive into the expanding part, is when we feel like we need to expand. So this is number 2. When we feel like, Lauren Kirkland's getting on. When we feel like we need to expand and we need to, maybe we're stuck, right? And because something works for a really long time. Hi, Lauren. Some things work for a while. I don't want to say a really long time, but things work for a while until they don't work anymore. And that's okay. Again, it's the puzzle piece, right? It's like, okay, you put a couple puzzle pieces in and they fit right in a row, and you're like, yeah, I'm on a roll. And then the next piece doesn't fit. And that's okay. That's again where you have to be patient with yourself. You have to sit there and look at and reflect on, like, okay, I've been doing this and this has been going really good. And I've created this and this, and whatever accolades you're thinking about in your mind, but don't be afraid to switch it up. Okay. So number 2 is switch it up. Like, always have to be switching it up. And it doesn't mean that you're recreating the wheel. It just means that you're willing to try something different. You're willing. And plus it keeps it fun. Like, I don't want to do the same thing all the time. Like, even my verbiage with people that I talk to, like I notice after a few months of like kind of talking to people and explaining crunchy and in our skincare and makeup, and I kind of have like a rundown of how I go about that I share. I will like start to switch it up, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not even doing what I used to do because I've changed it a few times, because it just gets monotonous, right? So in order to keep it fun and keep it interesting and keep it kind of feeling like it's ever growing, we really need to switch it up. And we're really just making a decision to move, whether it's allow ourselves to be creative, each one of us. And I really like have a new appreciation for creativity because I just wrote a book, and I find that even when I was proofreading the book, it was like in my head, I was like, okay, is this book going to be like, is this going to be good? Is this going to appeal to people? How are people going to perceive this? Like, there's all these thoughts. But then when I got back in the space, but this was when I was away from the book, and I was just thinking spiraling thoughts that was just not something I should have been entertaining. Right. And it would make me feel like this isn't going to be good or nobody's going to like it. But then when I got back into looking into my book and looking at the notes and looking at the outline and thinking about other things that I was going to add and whatever, it got me back in this creative space. And so a lot of times we get out of that, and then we just are in this funk, and we're like, ugh, like I can't think of stuff like she thinks of stuff, or I don't have a good platform like she does, or she has a good story or a good topic and I don't. And you give like attention or energy to those ideas, and it's not true. And we're all so creative that it's insane. But how can you get into this creative space that's going to help you to educate people more, to help you share with people more, to help you be like the fun, lighthearted, whatever it is. Like for me personally, I've just switched like my Instagram, and I'm sharing for a little bit. I was sharing about my anxiety stuff, because I will talk about that here in a minute, like kind of about your niche, but I was sharing about that, but it felt like my reels were just a little heavy. Like I would share them, but then I was like, ooh, these are kind of like, they're blunt, they're to the point, which is my style, but maybe they're just a little bit heavy, and they're really not coming off in the way that they weren't being received in the way that I was thinking that they would be received. Right. And that's just a fail forward. Like, do it, realize it's maybe not quite working, and realize that you could put a spin on it. And so what I've been doing is really just like, because for a minute I'm like, I'm tired of sharing about anxiety all the time. Like, it seems heavy, and I just want to share me and be fun and like a little bit lighthearted. But I realized, okay, you can actually be fun and lighthearted. but share something of value, but add education for people. That's what they want. People want education. They want to look to you for something other than Crunchy, because you're not Crunchy. Like, yes, we love Crunchy. We love the avenue. We love the vehicle that Crunchy gives us. Crunchy is an incredible business that's going to literally, like we say, like blow up, and we're in the midst of blowing up, but it's not us. It doesn't define us. We're way more than that. Okay. And so I want you to think about that when you're in this creative space of like, okay, how can I talk about the advocate opportunity? How can I get across to people in a different way that maybe I haven't been getting across to them? Like, how can I maybe change what I'm doing just a little? It's not like you're completely formulating what you're doing, because you're honestly with this business never going to really change a lot, in my opinion. You're going to tweak things, but you're not going to like just revamp necessarily everything you're doing, because Crunchy is what it is. You're going to become more educated. You're going to become more confident. You're going to grow more. And through all of that, you're going to find different ways to share and to share you, in which is going to actually grow your business more, if that makes sense. So it's not necessarily like, okay, you need to have a different application, the way you do your makeup. Okay, the way you do your makeup, like you really need to like do it different, and you need to find a new application or something different to do. That's not it. Like, it could be, you could do that and you could find a fun new hack to share with makeup, but that's not necessarily what you need to do as far as switching everything up with Crunchy. You're really switching up things you do with you. You're really switching up how much you show up. And again, that's going to be determined on how much growth you want to have this year. How much growth do you want to have in your business? How much growth do you want to have in your personal life? That's why if you want results with a workout program, you do the work, right? Same thing with your business. You do the work. So how much for you are you going to have to do? And nobody knows the answer to that, but it's a matter of you setting up your day with structure, and you mapping out posts and content and how that's going to look. And when you're going to create stuff, and when you're going to sit down by yourself and have some creativity time to brainstorm and brain dump. And I hope that you're talking and connecting with side sisters, because we're all doing this together, and it's fun when you have people to bounce ideas off of. It's fun when you're like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think about this? What do you think if I start sharing this? Like, whatever, all of that's really fun, and it keeps it spicy. And it's really going to help you gain so much confidence that it's going to help you be a better leader, but it's going to help you really attract your people. And that's really, at the end of the day, what we're kind of doing is like, who are we attracting? How are we showing up so that we can become in more people, like in the view of more people? Like, how can we get in front of more people's eyeballs? So we're going to talk about now, like specifically like the ways to expand. So again, this is something you just need to really be patient about. This is something that you really need to allow yourself time to grow and to develop, and to you're becoming this leader, and you're becoming this this person that has so much to share and so much to offer people, but we discount ourselves because we think, okay, I haven't sold anything this month. Or, okay, I'm only at this PV, and like, things just aren't moving. Well, if things aren't moving, okay, number one, are you working? Are you showing up? If you are, and you feel like things still aren't moving, then how are you going to, again, get in the eyes of more people? How are you going to expand? How are you going to, it's so important to ask yourself these questions instead of just becoming stuck and becoming like, ugh, because the feeling, we've all had it. We all get it, where we just feel like we're not enough, or we're not showing up enough, or like you just get almost frustrated with everything as a whole. And it's just easier to be like, whatever, whatever. But then what happens? Someone buys something and you get $150 order, right? And then it completely changes your vibe. And my internet's acting up. And it completely changes your vibe, right? You're like, okay, all right. Now you're feeling some fire and some energy. but that's not always going to happen. So how can you create that? And how can you start some conversations that, if my internet gets too bad, just tell me, but I know I'm cutting out a little, but hopefully it'll get better. So how can you find more pieces of the puzzle that actually fit in, right? Okay, so this is where, again, we need to lean into consistency. I know I talk about it a lot, but it's really so important that we lean into the consistency piece, but not focusing on perfection. I'm so sorry. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. My kids get on the internet and then, yeah. Okay, so sorry. Hopefully that recording, I think it'll be okay. Okay, so now digging into ways to expand. So we're focusing on consistency, but not perfection. And with Instagram specifically, I'm going to talk about this because I know this doesn't apply to everybody because not everybody necessarily is wanting to maybe focus on Instagram, but it is such a big thing. And it is so important, in my opinion, to actually dig into this and lean into it, even if you don't put your full attention. Of course, you're going to get your best results if you do, because I'll be honest, I've been doing reels consistently almost every single day for 30 days, and I've noticed a big difference. But I've also tweaked a little bit on what I'm sharing and doing. So I want you to think about your niche. And sometimes I hate this topic because I just think that there's so much around niche in your brand, and it's just like been impounded in us. And sometimes you just are like, I don't know that I want to talk about one thing or whatever. I don't know what that is for me, or whatever the case is. And it can just be a little bit frustrating on what that looks like. But I really want to dig into it because it will really help you. It will really help you to find more people that are like-minded, that you can serve, that you can relate with, that they can relate with you. And it actually makes a really big difference. And it's really fulfilling when you find the one thing that people really kind of look to you for. And it's not going to be crunchy. It's really not going to be crunchy, in my opinion, for most people. Most people aren't sitting right now looking at the internet saying, oh, I need to find a new foundation. Oh, I need to find new skincare, right? That's not what they're really looking for. What are they looking for? They're looking for ways to manage stress. They're looking for postpartum advice. They're looking for other pregnant women that they can relate with. They're looking for, good night, I love you. Good night. They're looking for just ways that they can feel like normal and relatable and all of those things, right? So that's how they're going to come to you. That's how they're going to relate with you. How is someone going to relate with you and then trust you, then want to buy your product? And it's not that you're just doing this to actually like get them to buy something. No, but you're doing it so that you can actually find the people that want to sit at your table, because they don't want to sit at your table if you're just selling makeup, if you're just posting stock photos of Crunchy. Like, and I know you guys aren't just doing that, but I'm just saying, a lot of people come into this business, they come into network marketing and they're just slapping like stock photos up, and nobody cares because it's not eye-opening, it's not value, it's not helpful. So I want you guys really quickly to take like a couple minutes. I'm going to mute myself, and I want you guys, this is a good exercise. I think it's kind of old school and it's a little bit like maybe seems tacky, but I want you guys to draw a bubble map, okay? Like the old school bubble map, okay? And in the center, you're drawing yourself, okay? And you can also do this, I'll tell you in a second, but so you're going to draw you in the center, okay? Who are you? And this is something that you might take some more time after we get off of this, because you're not going to maybe have the answer tonight, but who are you and what things are you good at? What are your strengths? What is something that you've been through that you've overcome? And it doesn't have to be something you've overcome. So if you feel like, I don't know, that's okay too. It's not all about something you've overcome in your past. It's not always about that, but a lot of times it is, because somebody right now is going through what you went through and they need help getting through it. They need hope. They need someone to talk to. And so I want you to think about that, but I also want you to think about, like, maybe for you, this is and I was talking to Tracy about this a couple days ago, but maybe for you, this is actually, like you love the education piece. Like for me, I love the education behind Crunchy, but it's not my strong suit. Okay. I don't really, I like to dig into the ingredients. I like to be educated, and I can always improve on my education of my own knowledge of the product so that I can be better at sharing and explaining and educating. I love non-toxic products. I love pieces of it, but I don't geek out on all the things. And that's not what I want my Instagram to look like personally. I'm not the person that you're going to come to for safe swaps. Like I know the basics, but I'm not your like Webster of dictionary of safe swaps. Like some of the women are, and I admire them for that. And they're super knowledgeable. They know way more than I'll probably ever know, because it's really not, it's not something that I'm super drawn to really get down and dirty with all of that science. But if that is you, then that's cool, because there is a market for people that like, and I share enough, even with what I know, I share enough that people come to me all the time and they're like, Tabitha, is this lotion good? Hey, I'm looking for a lotion, or I'm looking for a shampoo and conditioner. Again, I don't think I'm like the guru at all, but I share enough about the education piece and the non-toxic piece that I think people look to me, but I've done it for years on not just beauty products. So for me, I think that's part of it. But so I want you to think about how people would maybe come to you for value and support. And I want you to think about what you can offer them value and support wise. What are you good at? What can you share that is maybe just unique and bold and vulnerable that not everybody's sharing about? And it doesn't have to be something that not everybody's sharing about. It's just, those are things that I'm hoping that will stem or kind of, jog your brain on different things that you can do. So I'm going to mute. Like, I want you guys to just just write some things. I'm just going to mute for like 60 seconds or like 2 minutes. We're not going to take a ton of time. And then I'm going to share something else. Okay, so now if you guys kind of have like an idea of what you might want to share, and this can change, like this isn't something that's set in stone that, oh my gosh, if I pick this one topic, that this is what I need to focus on all the time, because sometimes maybe you just don't want to focus on that all the time, and that's okay. But now I would think it's important, or it's a good idea, if you do, when you get your topic, when you get something that you feel like is a strong suit and something that you can speak on and is of value and helpful and serving, you can make a bubble map with just that topic. And then you can write ideas. Like for me, when I started my book, it was funny because the publisher and the editor that helped me with my book, when we started this whole thing, when we were starting our outline, she started with a bubble map. And she's like, okay, we're gonna draw a bubble map. And I'm like, really? So I feel like that's like one of the things I remember from school is like doing the stinking bubble map. So we wrote like anxiety in the center. And then it was like, okay, what do you, because we had to think of chapters and we had to think of, okay, what are the main topics and really what are we going to focus on? And so it was like the things that came to mind was like expectations with anxiety, like boundaries, the spiral like of thoughts and beliefs and emotions and all of that rolled into one. And then health anxiety of just like the hypochondriac, like of like thinking there's something wrong and like panic attacks and medication, of course, and all these things. And so when you do that, you can really like branch out and think about things because those are going to be ideas and topics for you that are going to help trigger, like not trigger, but like jog your memory on things that you've dealt with. So that's just a good way to kind of hone in on your niche. And I would love to help you guys like individually if it's something that you're like, okay, I really want to do this, but I don't know how to do it. Not that I know, but I would be glad to try to help you guys because I know it's something that's kind of just hard, can be hard to decide. But when you get to that point, it's like you have this voice, right? You have this voice, and you have this like power within you on so many levels, but really on a level where maybe it's something that you haven't spoke about, right? Maybe it's something that that other people are, like I said, going through, and it's just so fun to have a voice, but then to actually instill, like you're basically you're gaining trust from so many people, and they look to you for, if you're going to be open enough to share about things, they're going to want to purchase what you're probably saying that they should have, right? And it just flows because if we're growing, right? Part of the growth factor is the health factor. And like we're all leveling up to be better mentally, physically, health wise. And obviously, I feel like Crunchy really just aligns with anything and everything that anyone would be dealing with right now because it's this like, it's just this factor of like women, right? And lowering the body burden and giving women this opportunity and then helping them with their health, but then helping them with mindset because mindset goes hand in hand, and then just helping them with the trust factor and relating to you. So with that being said, hopefully that sparks some ideas for you so that you can really start to connect with your network and your future prospects. Okay, as far as actually like something that's really another mental block is just the fact of the network. Okay, how do I actually like, how do I break out of these walls that I'm in with my network and really start to make more connections? Okay, again, this is going to take some time, so don't feel like it's something that's just going to happen overnight, but like again, it's small things that you're going to do, it's little things, it's the ripple effect that's going to actually help you meet more people. So really quickly, a tip that I'm going to give you guys that I'm starting to do that I think is really helpful, and it sort of takes a little bit of guesswork out of things, is I'm starting to spend 1 hour 2 to 3 days a week on creating content. Okay, so I'm starting to create reels, because reels are where it's at, whether you want to do them or you don't. I'm just telling you, if you want to grow on Instagram, you better be doing reels because you're probably not going to grow if you aren't, unless you have a bold topic that is just like stopping people in their tracks. The consistency piece and the reels piece are, and everybody's doing reels. So reels, when I started doing reels, I should have done reels every single day, because it would have absolutely changed the network that I have. But now everybody and their dog's doing reels. And so anytime you do a reel or I do a reel, it's pushed down because there's just reels all over. So regardless, whatever, don't let that stress you out. I'm not saying you have to do reels to be successful. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying to take an hour a couple days a week to sit down to create content. Okay, that's content for your group, that's ideas, that's brainstorming, that's thinking of like, okay, who could I maybe have to speak in my group this month, or how could I like what's a topic I haven't really covered in my group, right? It's just the brainstorming piece. And then actually creating like posts and then even educating yourself, because you educating others is educating yourself typically. Because sometimes, right, we're looking for that piece to share in our group and we don't know what to share, but then we educate ourselves and we're like, oh, that's really, if I didn't know that, chances are the people in my group didn't. And so you're sort of educating yourself too. So with that, um, there's really so many ways. Like we all know how to actually create new connections, right? It's like it's the stuff that seems harder because it's in-person stuff, right? It's are you getting hosts, and are they, if they're hosting a party for you, are you getting into the people that they're having? Are you getting into their like inbox, are you adding them as a friend when when they host a party for you? Are you seeing if you can get someone new to host a party from that party, right? So there's that networking piece. We all know that we've had that. There is the piece where you can add people to you can add friends on Facebook. Okay. This is the old school way that I used to do it. I'm not saying you have to, but I'm also saying that it's still, in my opinion, not a bad way. It's not that you go and you just spam and you start adding random people to your Facebook. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that, to me, it's social media. It's not weird if I see someone on Facebook and we have 27 mutual friends, me and so whoever that is. They're not in Crunchy, okay? Don't add people in Crunchy, but someone that's not in Crunchy, I know them, and we have 27 mutual friends in common. Who cares? Like, I personally think it's fine to add friend. Okay. It's not weird. It's called social media. If people don't want to be social, they shouldn't be on social media. So that's something that you can actually do to be intentional with, just like trying to add people, because it doesn't mean when you add that person, it doesn't mean you're going to go asking them, hey, have you heard of Crunchy? No, you're not going to ask them that. They're just going to sit there, and now they're kind of in your whatever area, and they're seeing your stuff, right? They're seeing your posts, they're seeing the stuff that you're sharing. So that's one way of doing it. You can spend a lot of time on Instagram, adding to following and commenting and doing all these things. I personally spent a lot of time doing that in the past, like years ago, and it does, in my opinion, it's not worth your time. Um, that's just my opinion. I do think it's good, again, to be social, comment, interact, because that's going to help your algorithm. It just makes sense. But the follow and unfollow method is not worth your time, in my opinion. And if you follow Brock Johnson, he says the same thing. Like, don't waste your time. And it's kind of just annoying for people to follow and unfollow you and only follow you if you're going to follow them back. And it's annoying. So I wouldn't really focus on that if I were you. Honestly, the new following, in my opinion, is going to come from, on Instagram specifically, from you being you, standing out, being consistent, and sharing your niche, your brand, whatever it is that you feel like is of value. That's personally how I think you're going to grow on Instagram. And you're going to get better at it, right? And you're going to continue. I remember when I first started, and this is so silly, but when I first started Instagram, I remember one of the first Instagram trainings I had, and I might have shared this with you guys before, but it was like, you see 6 photos, like you see 6, this is way before Reels. You see 6 photos, okay? And that's kind of like your magazine cover, let's just say, okay? When someone comes to your Instagram, you've got them for like 2 seconds. If they like what they see, they're going to follow you. If they don't, and they're not intrigued by you, they're not going to follow you, which is fine, right? If they don't want to follow you, who cares? But if you want to try to catch their eye, right, you're going to try to have like, so it was like you have these 5 topics or 4 topics or whatever. And you like, one's maybe it's personal, one was fitness for me, one was like maybe marriage. And then it was like, pick 2 other things that are you, that make you, that make you different. And I remember thinking, I don't know, like I couldn't figure it out. I could not figure out what would make me different and what would make me unique. And I remember like thinking, this is so stupid, but I remember thinking, I like coffee. Like I could share about like my love for coffee. And it's like, do you think people give a, what about coffee? No, but I didn't know what I was doing at first. And so it was just like, okay, like what could I actually share? And now it's like, and I'm just telling you that because it just shows how much you grow over time when you first start trying something you don't really always know, and that's okay. And it's fine. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, and it's an exciting place to be because you're ready for growth and you're going to try new things. Um so of course, like, we talk about like pop-ups and vendor events, and those types of events are really good for meeting people. You all know how to meet people in person. You all know different things. Like, you just need to be mindful and creative about referrals. You need to be mindful and creative if you talk to somebody and they love crunchy. Well, what about their mom? What about their mother-in-law? What about their sister? Like, everybody, like, if someone really loves it, then I'm always thinking, why? So if you love this and you have like every crunchy product, do you like think your mom would like it? Because I seems like maybe she would like it, or you would be a high influence on her list, right? For her to purchase. And so think about that way. Like, we get so sometimes social media like focused, which is great. It's a great tool. It's great for our businesses, but like, how else can we just keep it really simple and navigate through people, that we kind of have already sort of established or sort of know of, to navigate through. I got a referral order last 2 weeks ago, maybe a little over 2 weeks ago, from a girl that I has been a great crunchy customer since I started. She's probably been one of my best um avid customer. She hasn't bought Golden Light though, believe it or not, but she's bought everything else. And she had a girl that somehow knew this girl messaged me, hey, Whitney says that she uses crunchy, I'm looking for foundation, can you help me? So she bought foundation primer. So it was just like, which I didn't even have to work for that, but my point is that the people that are buying from you know people that would buy from you. It's just a matter of like, how much are you going to, like, how much time are you going to kind of spend, and how are you going to kind of get creative in the process of like weaseling. And I don't like to use that word because you're not like trying to be sneaky, but like, you're sort of weaseling your way into other people's eyeballs and network. And what's really cool is, I feel like compared to like what I did before with fitness, yeah, I could ask for referrals, but like, fitness is just different. Where this is like, everybody uses skincare and makeup, you guys. Let's not make it difficult. Let's just stick to the basics and stick to consistency and stick to the conversations of what we can actually do and what we can control. And I want you to be really mindful of what you can control. You can control your, I always talk about this, but you can control your structure, you can control your routine, you can control how intentional you are today and tomorrow with how you show up and how you share and how you post and how many conversations you have. But you have no control over anybody else, nobody on your team. I don't have control over you guys. Like, I can't make you do things, I can't make you show up, right? I can be the example and I can try to show up and I can try to show you and educate and share fire and energy, but I can't make you do it, and we can't make our clients. And I know right now with Golden Light, even, I think that there's this we're excited, and Golden Light honestly really is like, Kayla messaged me today and she's like, oh my gosh, Golden Light makes a huge difference with your PV. And it does, it makes a huge difference with PV, especially when they're already at $100. And a lot of times they might go ahead and get to the 150. But it's 100% going to change our businesses, just because not even the amount of the product, not even the price of the product, it's the quality of the product. It's the game changer product that we've been given to share. And it's going to just take a little bit more time for people to jump. And so this launch was good, but it didn't feel as, I have a lot of customers. I have a lot of customers, and I think I've sold 9 Golden Lights, I think. And if I'm being honest, I didn't really have an expectation, because I try just to, like, I haven't shown up like I should either. So that plays into effect. Part of it's my own maybe like lack of consistency, but I also think that for as many customers as I have, I thought I would sell some more, but it takes people a little bit, right? And we're just coming off of the holidays, and we just have to really not only be patient with ourselves in this business, you have to be patient with, like, I think our team's really good at being patient with, like, each other, right? Like, think about we've all had stuff go on in the last year where we maybe had to step back, or maybe we were like, oh, we were a little MIA or whatever. So it's so important to just be patient with your upline, be patient with your sideline sisters, and just with your customers, because like we're all just, trying to do the best we can. And we really don't have control over a lot of things, but we again do have control over whether or not we want to show up, and what we want to do, and how much we want to grow this year. And so I think it's awesome if we brainstorm together. Does anybody have anything they want to say? I lost the chat. I feel like my clients are drained. Can we chat about how to expand our network to reach women interested in the business? Ooh, I like that. Nursing loans. Okay, that's fine. Is Lauren still on here? No, she's not. Okay. So as far as the advocate opportunity, I think that it's similar in the way, again, let's not separate this. Let's not separate like products versus advocate opportunity. Okay. Yes, they're two different things, but let's not create two categories. Let's sort of lump them into one, because it's really one and the same. It's like how we share about the products, and we get really good at sharing about the products. We get warmed up to sharing about them because it's easier, but then we don't share about the advocate opportunity enough, in my opinion. And I'm guilty of that. And that's something that I'm going to change. Just with us hosting more things as a team, I think it's important. I think it's more important to do live events so that we can actually bring it up a little bit more. But as far as expanding your network to reach more women about the business, I mean, personally, I think that it's not a bad idea to do a reel every once in a while, or some kind of bold post. Like, I think doing posts about the business is huge. People don't know, people don't understand. So to me, like, someone could be sitting there, it could reach them on so many different levels. Someone could be sitting there right now wanting an opportunity, but has no idea what to do. Someone could be sitting there right now and they want more for their life, but they have no idea what to do. And they want to earn income. Maybe they've stayed at home. Like, there's so many scenarios where this could actually speak to people. Like, we think in our head, like, okay, MLMs, people are over it, nobody cares. But do they know what it's done for you? Do they understand the impact it's had on you? Like, not just financially, but like on a growth standpoint, right? Maybe on a friendship standpoint, maybe on a community standpoint, maybe on an educational standpoint. There's so many different ways to share it. And I think along with, it's a package thing, along with you sharing your niche and sharing what specifically makes you you and different, and what makes you stand out, and of value, and of health, and of strength, and all the things we talked about that you're good at, along with all of those pieces, you being bold, sharing about an opportunity, it's still the same thing. It instills trust in people. People are like, okay, so like, even for myself, I'm just going to speak for myself. So I've been with the company, I've been with Crunchy a little over a year now. Do people trust it more now? I would say so. I would say that when people, I haven't posted a ton about Crunchy in the last few days, but I would say when people see my stuff on Crunchy and they know that I'm still using it, and Crunchy keeps coming out with bomb products, and I share some transformations, and I continue to share my primer and foundation, which I think are great pieces to fall back on if you're feeling like golden light, like you don't know what to share and people aren't biting with golden light. Stop thinking all like, try not to just focus on golden light. Focus on the pieces that you know are going to get people to love Crunchy. Most people love foundation, not to get on a whole nother thing, but like, remember, people like transformations. People like to see a before and after. Not that you have to do that with your foundation all the time, but it's like a fitness transformation. People love to see that transformation. And so it stops their scroll because it's an instant gratification. People want to see that it makes a difference overnight, right? And so our foundation's incredible. And I always go back to that piece, because if you can get somebody to buy a $50 foundation and they love it and they're sold, what are they going to buy next? Okay. So go back to that. But with all of that, I got on a tangent about that. I just don't want you guys to get stuck on the golden light and thinking, because it's fun when a new product launches, but it also stinks when you feel like the product that just launched isn't really like selling like you thought it would. Right. And so we have to just go back to the basics. Like, I would always go back to the basics with fitness stuff. It was like, okay, like let's keep it simple, because people aren't going to buy a $98 product from the get-go, most likely. As far as, so I think that what I was basically saying is like, it's just, it goes hand in hand with what you're sharing, plus adding this opportunity in. People trust you, right? People are intrigued by what you're doing, especially if you've already been so open and shared. So does that help? I think it just really goes hand in hand, and it's very similar in that way. And same thing, because you're continuing to expand, right? If you're talking to new people and you're adding some new people, or you're creating new followers, or you're following some people. And keep in mind, there's these like-minded people on Instagram. What's your niche? Like, what is your niche? There's other people that have the same niche as you, right? Have you ever tried to find those people? Have you ever tried to connect with those people? I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. There's all these groups that you can be a part of on Facebook. I'm not in a lot of Facebook groups because, like, I don't want to be a part of Facebook groups, but I remember a lot of people networking in groups where you have people that have similar interests, or you have like dog groups or dog mom groups, or certain things that you love that there's Facebook groups for it. You can really connect with people in those as well. There's so many ways. Yeah. And it's just interesting how many people are going to come to you the more you talk about the opportunity. Because if you're talking about the opportunity once a month, I mean, just from my experience, you're not going to stand out, because people have to hear it over and over and over again. It's just like with primer and foundation. How long have people been watching you, but they still haven't bought from you? Like, do you think this is going to be the year that they're going to buy from you? Maybe. That's out of your control, whether or not they buy. But what is in your control is how often you're going to show up and how many times you're going to expose them to a bomb product, to a non-toxic product that works, that they need. They don't know they need it. They don't think it's any different than anything else that's out there. They think they have the best. They think they're using Tarte or Estee Lauder or whatever they're using, and it works. And they think it's cream of the crop because it's expensive and they get it at Sephora. But that's where it's fun to educate pieces behind of, like, it's not just the makeup. Yeah, we know it's bomb, but why are we using it? So how can we break down the educational pieces of the products to actually share nuggets with them? And I think that's something really good to ask yourself every single day. Okay, what nugget am I going to share today? Like, what nugget on my stories am I actually going to share that's going to pique people's interest? Like, even tonight, I was like, I should do a quick skincare routine. Like, I haven't done a quick sped up video of my skincare for a while, and just do it. And, like, not really even don't talk, just like do a quick video of me washing my face tonight. Boom. Simple. It's not anything record breaking. It's not rocket science, but it's something I haven't done in a while. And if I put a little blurb of something that will pique their interest, right? Or make them kind of be like, then I think I've done my job, right? I've added that nugget, I've added that exposure, and it's just maybe enough to get someone to reach out to me to be like, okay, what skincare do you use? Or what is it? Or I've been watching you and, like, I'm kind of needing something, right? Because I think evenings, like, I just did my reel on the rug I bought, and I was just making a joke about how I drank wine and I ordered this rug for my office and whatever. Anyway, I feel like at nighttime, like, you almost have to hit people at a time where they're like, you don't know, like, you don't know if they're ready for it. But, like, I feel like sometimes, like, people are just on a whim, and they're like, oh man, I need some new skincare. And then they're just like, yeah, sign me up. So you kind of just, like, it's hit or miss sometimes on just timing and when you share it and whether or not it's going to hit someone at the moment when they're, like, needing it. And again, that you can't control, but it's just fun sometimes when you throw up something that you're thinking, I'm just trying to be consistent, but someone actually bites. That's really fun. Okay. So don't be afraid to just fail forward in this way with expanding. I think that, again, try to remember that this is just all pieces of your growth, and this is all part of your expansion as a crunchy advocate, as a human, as a mom, as a wife. um and that, like, it's okay if you feel like it's not working, something's not working. Okay, something's not working, it's okay. Like, I get that way a lot of times where I'm like, okay, I feel like I need to sort of redirect the ship. right? And we're all doing that together. And I think we're doing a really good job. And I think that you really should pat yourself on the back for all the awesome things that you did last year and all the awesome things that you've done already in your business, because it doesn't go unnoticed. And so often we just don't pat ourselves on the back for all we've done. I've kind of honestly been feeling like I've been failing my team lately. I've been failing like my business, because I just haven't been able to give to my business like I really want to, because I had to stop and pause and take care of this book stuff. And because I've been working on my mindset stuff, and then the holidays, and I'm not making excuses, but we all sometimes have to redirect what we're doing. And if that means taking our foot off the gas with Crunchy for a little bit, then that's what we need to do. Right. And our business is still going to be here. And that's the beauty of it. And so I want you to really like, and what I started to say is I've had so many people, and I say so many, but like maybe a handful of people in the last week tell me like, gosh, I love your reels and you're really kicking ass, and I'm thinking, like, they really think that I'm kicking ass, and it's just like a different perspective, right? Because for me, I know that like I could be doing more. I know that I haven't been as plugged into my business as I like to be and what I think is plugged in. Um, but I also know what burnout's like, and I also don't want to get there. So, and I don't want you guys to get there. And so I think that it's just so awesome to come to a place where you can find this balance between having fun with your business but being consistent, but also just keeping it interesting and spicy, and brainstorming together and all the things. I could go on and on. I think we haven't done a call enough lately, and I'm just like bleh. So I'm going to get off here because I don't want to take too much more of your time. If anybody else has anything else that they specifically want to talk about, as far as Instagram, as far as Facebook, as far as like growing and whatever, I tried to include things that would be really helpful. But let me know if there's something else that you guys think I missed, or something else you guys have an idea that you would share, because I don't have all the answers. My following's been stuck for months at the same space, same place it's been. So, but I also think it's so important at the same time to not get so focused on your following and so focused on new people, and stop serving and be frustrated with the people that are at your table. Like, you're not frustrated with them, but I just mean like we feel like we tap out our warm market, but we really never do tap out our warm market, because they're ever changing too. We're ever changing, they're ever changing. They might want a business opportunity, right? They might want to try Crunchy again if they already tried it. They might want a new product. Like, you just don't know. You can't just exhaust your warm market. It just doesn't happen. So try not to get frustrated in that, but just continuing each day to try to grow will really help you. And I know you guys are doing that. So thank you for getting on. I'm going to post this recording, and we'll talk soon. All right. I love you guys. All right. Bye.